Right. Something new today. We got the small Gosun. They just came out with the small E-tray. That's why I got the small model. This handle can't be taken off. I had been unscrewing their wooden handle from their old school tray and putting it inside and closing it. But that's sticking out of the end. It's another 4 inches. It's just unacceptable. I can't even fit it. I cannot fit it anywhere inside my wagon reasonably. Like I have been setting it in just inside here and taking it out each time that I want to get inside my wagon and use it once parked. But that got really annoying really quick, so I ended up just leaning it on the wall right over there for the last several weeks, and that was really annoying me because that means that it's not part of my mobile enough setup. So I started looking back into the Gosun website to see if they had come out with a small E-tray, because I emailed them about how that'd be awesome if they would come out with a smaller E-tray for the small ones. So some of the differences: this larger E-tray was also a battery hog. It would take up like a third of my battery just to cook one meal. It was I think it was over 100 watts it was taking. It was like they report that it only takes 90, but it was like up to 120 watts it would take. And this one so far, the most I've seen it take is 37. It's taking 37 right now, you can see. You got 11 watts going in, parked in the shade on a snowy day, and it's taking out 37 watts. So this is using up 3 times less power than the larger E-tray, and it is way more compact. Look at this. I'm able to cook liver and eggs meal. It looks like it's going to be just big enough to be an actual meal. It's right on top. I'm able to cook it right on top of the actual battery. It's so light. It's so light and stay. This is cool. This is awesome. Being able to utilize this space back here that otherwise wouldn't be utilized feels really good. It feels like a tight ship. It feels like part of a tight ship. Like having the right size everything in here is absolutely paramount. So yeah. Right size of everything. Dialing it in, trying to. Donkey's too small. So I started off with 97% battery about 10 minutes ago. It's probably done cooking about now. I don't smell it yet, but it's probably getting close. And it's only taken 1% of my battery so far. That's crazy. It says 96 over there. 96% of my battery left. And I started with 97. Smells done. Yeah, it's done. Darn it, I think I overcooked the egg. All right, my tiny little meal. I like how this cord has the built-in Velcro. It's pretty quick. Kind of still unruly though. It needs to not be so long. It's a little ridiculous. I don't need it that long. That fits inside the tray when you store it. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Just gonna start keeping it back there. That's out of the way. Awesome. Food. Breakfast. Put salt on it. First meal's super basic. I didn't think I could fit any vegetables in it. Thought I'd be able to fit 2 eggs in there, but only 1. Not too overdone. It's not actually bad. Yeah, it's overdone, but thank you, God. Thank you. How much of my battery did that use? That only used 2%. That took about 20 minutes to cook, and it only took 2%. It was at 97. Now it's at 95. That's amazing. It would have taken the Gosun E-tray roughly 30 minutes. It would have taken longer, and it would have used 30% of my battery. This seems like enough of a serving for one person. I always had leftovers with that Sport. And if I didn't, I was way overstuffing myself. I'm interested to see if this is like the perfect portion to maybe not over-satisfy me, but like to be healthier for me. It's definitely more portable, and that's healthier on my mental being, having everything tight in its place, out of the way, filed in order, instead of being oversized and unruly shaped like the Gosun Sport. I mean, seriously, it's like, okay, here's a long, skinny tray. It's a little unorthodox, right? Well, the E-tray for the Sport is like a frickin' sword or lightsaber that you have to wield around, being careful not to knock it into stuff. It's ridiculous. All right. Well, my review is that, gratefully, that this is a big enough tray for cooking a dense meal. Well, I don't think it would be quite as satisfying if you were just cooking leafy vegetables in it or something. It would make the leaves a lot better than if you tried to eat them raw. It's a freaking survival. This is awesome. Survival tool. I like this. I like this. I could have fit 2 eggs in there if I had stacked the liver up on itself so that it was as tall as the top of the tray, top the tube. And then I could have fit a second egg in there. So this does make more than enough for my 125-pound body. Definitely makes a large enough meal if it's calorically dense enough of a meal. I can't believe it's taken me 8 years or 6 years or whatever it has been using that Gosun almost daily, toting it around when it's twice as big as what I needed. Actually, I started with a Gosun, like a Chinese knockoff off Amazon that looks exactly like the Sport, except it's almost as small as this. That one was a perfect size. I was always making like vegetable meals and whatnot. It was adequate enough portions. This one's even smaller though. Can't believe it's taking me this much time to allocate $150. Thank you to my supporters. I wouldn't have been able to afford this if it wasn't for my Patreon supporters and people who donate. I save up for stuff like this so I can review stuff. So what can I say negative about this? There's a couple things. This whole back thing is just cheap as hell feeling. It pseudo locks into place, and then you have to carry around this extra clip that I have to just left in the box. I'm gonna throw it away because I don't ever plan on using it vertically like this with that stupid stand, because it would require me to have to haul around 24/7 this big awkward triangular piece. Not big, but it's a fourth the size of this whole thing that I would have to haul around just so I could hold it vertically. Adjust the upward angle. They don't really even address that in their advertisements, but obviously you're gonna have to prop it up, use a rock or something under the back if the sun's more on the horizon. The stabilizing plastic pieces are janky feeling. This is gonna be adequate though. I can't imagine that breaking. This has the joint right here that looks like it definitely could end up breaking. It looks like the weak point, but really the weak point of this whole back section is having to carry around a stupid triangular piece. So they didn't extend the reflectors all the way to the edges at all, and it's actually like really inefficient design. They could have made this cook by sun twice as fast if they would have filled in this stuff, and it would have been not necessary for the operator to rotate it with the sun so frequently, because this is such a narrow reflector. On the Gosun Sport, the reflector is wider than the solar collecting area, which stops right here. This one is actually, the reflectors are further in. It's actually wasting all of this spot right here. If it was perfectly aligned with the sun, it would be wasting all of this that would be shining down on this portion, and it would be wasting just like a little corner area right here on this. But that's technically probably 5% of the whole reflective area, and 5% quicker cooking or whatever is, I mean, it just seems like you could increase the efficiency by simply extending these. I don't understand why they didn't do that. It's so weird. So weird. They could have done it so easily. I don't understand why. So I'm thinking about taking strips of actual mirror, because these reflectors, they do not last very long. They only last like a couple years if you are using this regularly and washing them regularly. And that's washing them with a pressure washer, like with a hose or a sprayer, instead of scrubbing them. If you scrub them, it's going to rub off the reflective layer within months, if not a year. So I'd like to figure out how to attach strips of mirror that I cut out with a mirror cutter, a little rolling device that perforates glass, and then it has a little clamp that you snap it off in perforation points, so that you can actually cut off strips of mirror and use double back sticky tape to adhere them to this, and because they're laid out horizontally, they'll be able to match the curvature of the reflector that's needed. That's what I try to do. And then the mirrors will be 100% scrubbable for their entire life. I won't have to worry about being delicate and trying to clean my screen and thinking about when it's the lifespan of it's going to tick down. It could be a mirror. A mirror can be washed indefinitely. These nano sprayed surface reflectors are not indefinitely cleanable. And I think that's the biggest thing that people need to know who are thinking about getting these, is that the biggest drawback of all these Gosuns and these solar evacuated tubes, Gosun didn't invent these. Anyway, yeah, the reflectors are the weakest spot on these types of solar ovens. And so I think that if they replaced it with an actual mirror, glass mirror, they would have the perfect opportunity to do that with this model specifically, because it has the case. It doesn't make any sense that they would make this smaller reflector and continue to make it out of this year-long lasting material when they have this padded case that they could actually put an actual mirror reflector in. It's weird. All right, this is way easier to clean, not only because of the size, but because with the Gosun Sport, both ends of the tray have weird like construction that it holds in food. At this end, they have this hole that has a screw, so that you can screw in their scrubby, so that you can clean out that deep of a tube. And on this end, they have two screws that not only do you have to clean around them, but you got to clean out the insides of them. This, I just use my finger, and that whole end's clean. Run my thumb up and down it, and then clean off the flat end, and then spray it off. That's so much easier. Like, I know it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, but day in and day out, making this part of your life easier is going to add up to a lot of peace that you don't recognize with individual process efficientizings. But when you add them all up, they really make for a different way of living, much more peaceful. When things are getting more sane in your life, the more peaceful you feel. And the cord fits inside That's cool. I couldn't do that with the Gosun Sport. I couldn't just put the cord on top like that. It'd just fall out the ends. That's cool. I'm gonna let this breathe so it can evaporate out. Let that breathe. Super cool. Oh my gosh, I'm just gonna keep it right there. It's already in its perfect spot. I'm so impressed. And I'm so disgusted with how large that one is now. I think having this all zipped up will also help to keep the reflectors clean and lasting a longer time than on the Sport. Even if you don't add your own mirror reflector. This is so convenient. I got some greens here. Got some cauliflower and cabbage in the back. I got greens. I would like some greens, please. I would like a leaf from each you. I'm taxing you. Give me your leaves. These things, these possessions are so amazing. It's ridiculous. I love how this smaller one, the tray isn't quite so long, so you can, I don't know, just prop it up on a leg like this. Whereas I try to do that with the Gosun, but I always feel insecure with it, but this feels really secure. That's cool. And this liver's ready to be eaten. Look at how cool this is. A little grocery store, my little crappy small town Ray's grocery store had had individual portions of beef liver portions in these individual packets. You buy, like, I think there are 4 of them at a time in the bag. That's pretty cool. All right, that's my first soiling of the screen. All right, I'm just gonna do this off. It's so small. Nice. I like this. All right. There you go. Thank you. So only room for 1 egg. Yeah, this is a little small for food. I have to admit. A little small. Wonder what I could fit in for greens. I'm definitely not gonna be able to fit another egg in there. There's not enough space. See if there's enough space to tear up a couple little tiny vegetables. Sorry, egg, you're gonna have to go back. You're not chosen. You're not the chosen egg today. I can't cover up the yolk because I gotta be able to see if it's jammy. I have a peeping hole. There we go. Hey, Jerry. So I was only able to fit in 1 leaf. Let me try to fit in 2. Shove it back in here. I gotta put on salt. Put some salt on. I could get in a couple other leaves. Ah, there we go. Yeah. Wait a second. Say, yeah. Right. So 1.5 eggs, a beef liver portion, and three cabbage and cauliflower leaves. I'm gonna put a mirror on the inside of this. This is gonna be so much better. It's gonna be so much more reflective, bigger reflective area. It's surprisingly easy to level using this arm. I thought that was gonna suck, but it getting longer out there like that away means that it props it up slightly more and more. But I had to put it on this and angle that forward a little bit. I think that's what it's used to, how it's supposed to be used. It's 3:12 right now. It would take about 20 to 30 minutes, probably 30 minutes closer with this this intensity of the sun, it being this low on the horizon. It would take at least 30 minutes to cook this meal with the Gosun Sport. This Gosun Go, I assume, is going to be quicker, because it's a smaller tube to have to heat up, smaller diameter. So the walls, the heated walls, are closer to the center, so they'll heat up all the food, center of the food faster. All right, it's been about 15 minutes, and I'm not seeing any steam or smell anything. So I was thinking I would probably start smelling something or seeing a little bit of steam at this point. And so I started looking at the angle of the reflectors. This one is pretty dead on. It should want to hit right there, dead on, but it's a little bit that direction. It's hitting on the back side of the tube a little bit more than it should, but it's not bad. This one, on the other hand, on the bottom is, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, is really off. It wants to hit the very back part back here. It wants to hit back about a 1/2 inch as opposed to right here. This one's only like a 1/4 inch off of center of the tube. I don't know if that, I think as long as it hits the tube, that's all that really matters. All right, something else I'm realizing after like a 1/2 hour and it's still not steaming. I'm noticing with this shadow. I was noticing I was planning on putting in the strips of mirror, and I realized that this whole area, probably from this bolt all the way here to this bolt, is all angled upwards too much to be doing anything. It's showing that it's spot on, but because of this curvature from this bolt over to this bolt, and about, let's see, it starts to cast about right there, so about right here. All of this that my finger is touching right now is useless screen. And I've already explained how they're making this space useless, this whole corner, and this little smaller corner over here. This Gosun Go just has the Inefficient reflector size and shape. And the shape is a little more curved than it needs to be. and the shape of the opening is more closed, so that it's hitting the back of the tube, and so that it allows for this to be angled up and to be useless. So if it was just opened up more, it would be solving that, and it'd be hitting on directly on the optimal 90-degree edge of the tube, and it would also be opening up and utilizing these two areas. Let's see if this is the same. Yeah, see, this one's not as bad. It starts to lose it at the tip, but if they added one more bolt in there, that would probably also help. They need to add one more bolt here to keep that consistent and down, and also make this open a little bit more, a hair more. It's already getting dirty. We got liver blood right there, and I don't even know what that is. I don't know what that is either. It's my first time cooking it. I must have got this just opening it up last time. I don't know. I don't like these brads either. That seems like they're sticking out. Look, feel really bad. What they should do is they should turn these pop rivets around, because they look really nice from the other side. But what would be smarter is if they turn those pop rivets around and then added a piece of fabric over this inner area. Gosun Sport, I would say, when the reflector is new and shiny, it is very well worth it, especially if you have the full thing packed, because you can make two meals. This is just one meal, and it appears to be the same amount of time that it takes to cook, so it's really not any more convenient, because you have a leftover meal with the other ones, which can be a problem sometimes if you don't feel like eating the leftovers. This one's certainly easier to wield and to store. I think if I line this with mirror, I think this one will be better. But as is, this reflector is too small. It's not opened up enough, and it's too curled at the tips of the reflector. So I think if I put in the mirror strips, I think that will increase the whole usefulness of it, and then I'll like this one more. But as is right now, I think I like the Gosun Sport more. I'm gonna hold on to both of them until I figure it out. I hope I can figure it out and dial it in. There's no way I want to keep two of them long term, unless I figure out the other one's good for food and this one's good for liquid. That's what I'm thinking I might find. This one only like holds 16 ounces or something stupid like that, and the other one holds like 40 ounces, I think. Talking about for like tea heating purposes in the summertime when I can't use fire and I don't want to use electricity. Don't want it, because it takes a lot of electricity to heat up water. I don't know if I'm gonna have to plug this in this E-tray. I might have to plug this E-tray in. The sun's starting to go down. I only got like 10 to 15 more minutes. I'm gonna open this up just because I want to make sure I'm not overcooking. I want a jammy egg, but wow, this is really slow. It's still, the yolk is not even cooking. It's still showing that it's on target. Bummer. I wanted her to like this. I'll try the mirror. And if I line this with the mirror strips, then it'll actually push these back to be more open and capture a little bit more sunlight. Yeah, that's the other thing. Not only would opening them up be directing the light more 90 degrees instead of on the back side at an angle, but it would also be just capturing more sunlight from around and bringing it in. And there we go. Just set it over here. Good sheep. Donkey doo. I'm finally starting to smell it. All right, it's done. Oh, and that's pretty gross too. Yeah, this fabric is just gonna be absorbing the juices. I don't know, man. I don't think this fabric is a good idea to go with. They should have just made a miniature version of what they did with the big one. Except they shouldn't have made it this small. They should have made it somewhere right in between this size and the other size. Because the other size is too big. This one's too small. So this egg right here took twice as long to cook than this one that's right behind it. Because just like in the Gosun Sport, the first inch or so that has access to, the outside air, and also doesn't have the heat collector. I think that's the main thing. The Gosun, interesting. So the Gosun Go here has an unusable, unsolar absorbable portion that's an inch in, and the Gosun Sport has the same inch of area. So in relation to the size of the rest of the tube, the other Sport actually has a stronger collection ratio. This is a smaller tube, yet it has the same length of unusable, unabsorbable portion that makes it overall less efficient than this Sport. Gosun Go is not as good as the Sport, is what I'm thinking after having 2 or 3 meals out of this now. It's a little small. So it's like the first, this is already a really small tray, but when you bring into account that the first inch of it is not going to cook nearly as quickly as the rest of it, it's pretty much the way that I view the first inch on the tray of a Gosun Sport is that it's useless. I try to push all the food back so that there's no food there because it cooks differently. It cooks like half the time. So this tray, the usable portion of this tray is actually only from here to here. That's pushing it over the line. It was already on the line. I don't like this Gosun Go. It's too much of a toy. It's too much of a novelty, like camping, just going hiking for the day item. I'll be able to make my, I don't know who they're trying to market this to. Yeah, they should have gone with the size right in between the larger Gosun Sport tray being like this long, and this little one, they should have made it like this long, because right now I'm feeling like I have to keep my legs together in order to keep it from falling in between my legs. It's a little dainty. Gosh. It's like, where's the sweet spot? The Goldilocks sweet spot. Gosun. We'll be lucky if they listen to us. Make any of the improvements. Yeah, that's gross, that fabric. I'm gonna have to wash it, like launder it. That's crazy. They should not have mixed food grease with fabric. They would be inevitably joined together if they included that fabric in that product. Stupid. This is actually Gosun's design. Their Gosun Sport is not their design. The Chinese came up with that design, and they were selling it all over Amazon, but they didn't have it patented. And Gosun, Patrick, the CEO, he went and patented it, and that shut them down off of Amazon. Because my first solar evacuated tube oven was the Gosun Sport design, but it was 1/3 the size, a little bit larger than this. Perfect size. And they called it Sun. Hasn't been available for years. It's only 17 inches long instead of 24 inches long like the Gosun Sport. This was the best model possible. I don't think a potato meal in this would be quite satisfying enough unless I made it really cheesy and really fatty. I don't think this fabric is a good idea. That's just asking for mold to start growing underneath the reflector, and especially if I put in a mirror, I would have to seal it off like all around the edges, because that would definitely be inviting in mold, because I'd be cleaning it off by spraying it constantly. So I don't think that I'm gonna go with this Gosun Go. I think I'm gonna send it back to Amazon. Luckily they got a good return policy. All right, it's clean. All right, Gosun Go. It was an interesting experiment. All right, 16 ounces down edge. Yep, 16 ounces. That's only about 14 ounces. So it doesn't even hold enough water to really be worth, or is it? All I really need, I will need to have a water heating option in the summertime that doesn't take electricity. Like I could have a little plug-in water boiler, but those take a lot of electricity, and it would just be really nice to be able to have this mounted somewhere. It would make it this would be worth using just for liquid. I mean, I would use this just for liquid, for teas in the and for for espresso and coffee. 14 ounces is enough for. This is light enough that you could, I wonder if you could mount like a pole somewhere to like the back of that milk crate. Mount a pole that is telescopic maybe, and you would mount this to the top piece, and it'd be cool if you could raise that to above the height of the roof, and then you'd be able to rotate it around, and this would be open, and you would just face it towards the sun. It will always keep you topped off with 14 ounces of boiling water. That's maybe where this could shine. I could see that. And then it would just be stored on the outside all the time. I think it's kind of like a better one of those kettles, those sun kettles that opens up. That has really small reflectors, and from the reviews I hear that they are not very efficient at heating up liquid. Whereas this one, I think that the reflectors on this are like twice as big as the other ones. The other one's reflectors are more tightly curved, and they only go out to about right there. It barely opens up. It barely has a big enough space to catch enough sun rays to even heat it up. It's not even to a boil. I don't even think that one gets to a boil. The Gosun Sport will get to a boil. I don't know if this will get to a boil with this size reflector, but I think that if I make the inside of this strips of mirror and just use it for water and have it mounted outside where it's not taking up any space in my wagon, to where I have to further justify having it, I think that there would be I think it might be worth carrying. So it would just be mounted to a pole, a telescopic pole. It would be mounted to the back of my milk crate. And when I want to use it, I just fill it up with water and raise it and rotate it towards the sun, and might figure out some kind of a tilt action to maximize its connection and heating efficiency. That's the only way I can see this being worth it, but I don't even know if that seems like kind of far-fetched. I wonder how I could mount this though, because it would be cool to have this mounted and have it be directable in the general direction of the sun, and then always have preheated water that I could put into the espresso machine, so that it heats up in seconds. It's ready and boiling, if it's not already boiling when I put it in it from this. So I wonder if I could just hang it somewhere. I don't need a pole. I could just start hanging it. Or maybe Velcro or something, attach Velcro and hang so that it's more sturdy. I need the ability to tilt it though. I need the ability to direct it and tilt it while we're on the roll. So if we're walking down the road and someone's like, "Hey, you got some sheet milk latte? Could I have one?" I would take this off of its mount. I would pour it into the espresso machine and hold down the button. It would heat and to a boil, if not already boiling when I put it in it, within 10 seconds. By the time I got the puck prepared, the water would be ready. For sure. Within 30 seconds. So I could have lattes given roadside, on rural roads without them even having to pull over. I could literally just like look down the road both ways, and if there's no cars coming, I know that I got 30 seconds or 60 seconds to whip out a latte for them. Rural road barista. That's crazy. Crazy.